Ever since I can remember as a kid, I always liked to go on adventure. I really liked watching the Indiana Jones films. And the idea of going on an adventure always really appealed to me. So I always thought, wouldn't it be great to have my entire life be one big adventure?
And we both had the dream to live in Hawaii and pursue something together.
Well, my family connection really started in 1946 when my grandparents married here on Oahu, and they returned to the islands in 1955.
They settled in Laie, and they were quite influential and instrumental in a lot of what happened with the college over there.
That's where my mom was raised, and I always consider my grandparents' house as my home. I worked in healthcare marketing for about 18 years. Great life, great job, met a lot of great people, but I knew that that's not something I wanted to do for the rest of my life. But I always thought, but what else is there? What else could I do? And then I heard somebody say that, okay, if you won the lottery and you won 30 million bucks, what would you do the next day? What would you do the next year? And so when you find out what you would do, you should go do that now, because then you're chasing your passion rather than just trying to get a job, trying to get a paycheck. So I thought about that for a long time. I thought, okay, if I won the lottery and I didn't have to work, what would I do? And I should go do that right now. So it came up that I needed to go on an adventure, and I needed to take people on one as well. That's what I want to do for the rest of my life. So you know what? I better go do it now while I'm still young and still have the energy. So that was the inspiration for me to go and start Hoaloha Jeep Adventures.
I realized that he was stagnating at work and needed to get out and explore his creative adventurous side. And so I sort of brought it to him as, hey, what do you think about this idea of pursuing that dream and turning it into reality, like for real?
I decided I needed to take the jump. I needed to just at least try. If I tried and failed, at least I can say that I gave it my best shot. And I remember distinctly coming home from work one day and said, hey honey, got a great idea. Why don't I quit my job, we sell our house, get rid of all of our stuff, and move you and the 3 kids to Maui, and I started up a private Jeep tour business taking people on the road to Hana. And she looked at me and went, you serious? And I said, yeah. She said, okay, when are we leaving?
It was very scary. But then it was also exciting, and it just felt more exciting than scary. At some point, it was just, once we made the decision, then we were moving forward, and it was just go, let's go. I think, yeah, we are a little bit crazy, and we decided to do it anyway.
It is scary what I did. It's scary to leave the comfort of knowing how much money you're gonna have a year.
We had decided to sell everything, so we set up yard sales to sell off all of our things. He came over to visit. He narrowed it down to Maui, and we came over on sort of a second honeymoon scouting expedition. And it was daunting. It was daunting to look at the price of housing and cost of living and all of those things, and to kind of question, are we crazy for doing this?
I got cold feet and thought, there's no way we're doing this. Have you looked at the cost of living on Maui? You know the failure rate of a new business? I don't have any business training. This is a huge risk. What about our kids? There's a great moment when we were on our way to the airport, and we had all of our suitcases lined up by color so we know whose was whose, and everything that we basically owned were in those suitcases. And that's when it really hit. Yeah, there's really no going back. We are really doing this.
We definitely felt there were times we were barely making it, might not make it, might wind up living on the beach for a while, and somehow things always seem to work out.
There's no way I could have done this without her. She's kind of the brains of the operation. I always tease that she's my CFO and hot office assistant. Yeah, I always joke around that she can worry about all of the details. I can worry about the big picture. So that's kind of where my strength is the creative side. And what should we do next? And how can we do this better? And she's like, well, have you thought of this? Have you thought of that? What about the insurance? What about our licensing? Have you talked it over with this and that? You go, no, no, no. So guess what you get to do? Can you take care of all of that?
It brought Marcus and I closer. And so it's been sort of a beautiful, challenging, growth-inducing, love-multiplying kind of experience for us, working together, building something together, and doing it with our kids. I feel like even our relationships with our individual children have grown closer. Our kids don't always see it as paradise. Especially at first, it was hard leaving their friends and family that we had nearby that we would visit with often. And then they sort of just started to fall in love with going to the beach, where at first it was a scary place for them. They hadn't really been to an ocean, and then learned how to boogie board and snorkel and see the beauty that was everywhere, and it just started to sort of seep into where now they're happy here and they love it.
This is like what I dreamed of, coming all this way and having the beach in our backyard and just coming whenever we want. And it's just, I love seeing my kids out and about, away from their, their laptops, and just playing. I think the best part of this is spending the day with the guest, because I get to share with them my love of Maui, my love of the culture here, and I get to see this through their eyes. I always say I get to see this for the first time again through their eyes. And that is what gives me energy every day. My passion is adventure. And I think every day you should go have one. I really believe, because that is the spice of life. Even the simplest mundane things, going to the store, can be an adventure. Running errands, just life is an adventure, and we should see it as such.